Some of you may know I had a history of politics in America, so I've had the experience of winning elections and losing elections. I can tell you that winning is a great deal more fun. However, losing is where the lessons are. Sometimes hard learned, but it is indeed where the lessons are. I want to extend also my congratulations to the winning candidates, my condolences to those who did not make it this time, but I want to thank you all for being very gracious to me as an outsider coming to Kerry and participating in my first election. I could not have asked for a better group to compete with or a complaint about any in the way I was treated. Also, I would like to add my thanks to the staff here and everybody that was involved in the tabulation, etc. I was impressed by the professionalism of everyone, and my great thanks to you, because as has been said before, without all these efforts, both volunteer and otherwise, democracy could not survive in Ireland or anywhere else. It depends on the people who make it possible, and I thank you all for your efforts. In 1881, a ship set sail from Cork bound for Philadelphia in faraway America. On board was John George Bowler, his wife Catherine, my great-grandparents, and their children. They did not depart willingly or happily, but were forced to make that arduous voyage out of necessity brought on by the lack of opportunity available to the citizens in their homeland. Sadly, 140 years later, and to our national shame, that same scenario continues to be played out far too often in this nation. You can be sure that there were tears in their eyes, as realizing as they did, in all likelihood, they would never set eyes on their beloved Ireland's green hills and fields again. Mingled with those tears, I'm sure, was also a prayer that if they could not return, perhaps someday their progeny would. I stand before you here as a fulfillment of that prayer. I suspect that mingled with the torrents of rain that we've all experienced over the last few days, there were also a few tears of pride being shed from above. I thank you all for the opportunity I have been given here and for the welcome I have received from the people of Kerry. While on the subject of thanks, I want to convey a very special thanks to the volunteers who have stepped forward and given selflessly of their time, their efforts to aid both the Irish Freedom Party, still in its infancy, and myself, a somewhat experienced politician, but a novice at the nuance of politics in his new homeland. Mingled among those helpful souls were several angels, cleverly disguised as volunteers, whose efforts were often beyond and above the call of duty. On that subject, I want to extend a large and special thanks to Michael, Daniel, and Jackie Healy-Ray, who set aside the norms of political competitiveness to offer advice, aid, and help to this novice, and helping to navigate the turbulent waters of local political system. It speaks volume of their personal qualities and highlights why they have both been once again rewarded with the public trust. Both thanks and congratulations to the family. Additionally, my congratulations to Pat Daly of Sinn Féin on his hard-won victory. Actually, you might be shocked to realize that there was actually some similarities between Sinn Féin and the Irish Freedom Party. While our party is still in its infancy, being only 7 months old, and was conspicuously unprepared for a snap election, offering as it did a mere 4 weeks window of campaigning, the shortest in 100 years. Still, given that, a lack of volunteers, insufficient funding, I am extremely proud of how well we acquitted ourselves in that short period of time. It was merely our initial outing, and we were warmly received by all the residents of Kerry with whom we had the opportunity to speak. While on the subject of speech, I would remind you all that it was our ability to speak freely and communicate our various platforms and messages to our constituents without fear of censorship or reprisal that ensured the survival of the democratic process. There is a corollary to the Golden Rule, besides do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and it is those rights which you allowed to be taken from others will soon enough be denied to you. The similarities between the Irish Freedom Party and Sinn Féin, of which I spoke earlier, are these. Sinn Féin was born of the struggle to free Mother Ireland of the foreign domination that had stifled the Irish population from achieving their rightful freedom, sovereignty, and place in the world as a free, independent, and unencumbered nation. So too, the Irish Freedom Party and the handful of other nationalist populist parties that competed in this recent election across Ireland share that self-same goal of self-determination for all of its Irish citizens. As was to be expected, none of our election results caused those in the halls of power to quake in their boots. But to those who are savvy and informed enough, meaning they get their news from other sources other than Irish corporate globalist media, know full well that nationalist populist parties like ours are in ascendancy all across the EU. Italy's La Lega, France's National Rally, the Vox Party in Spain, Germany's AfD, the Sweden Democrats, to name but a few, all began with election numbers similar to what we posted here today, but now are controlling large swaths, setting majority control in their national governments. All are fighting to return their nation's sovereignty over its laws and policy, and as well as to the sanctity of their customs, cultures, and traditions. Ireland had a conspicuous absence of such opposition parties, but no more. I will conclude with a gentle and friendly warning to you all. Disregard us at your peril. Thank you all for your hospitality and gracious welcome, both to my party and myself, and we look forward to continuing this discussion in the near future. Thank you so very much for your time.